All right, I'm gonna address this on this channel, even though I should address it on my gun channel. But um, this is to all the emotional, in their feelings, low IQ people, black people. I'm talking about because plain and simple, the white people don't come at me about we need gun control. We's needs gun control. It's very simple to understand. Okay. And I can address it. I can address it from two different angles, plain and simple. Bottom line, you're an ex-slave population. You talk about racism and white supremacy all the time and how it's affecting you, and the cops is racist and white people are racist and all that other stuff. Okay, fine. Why don't you take up arms to protect yourself just in case they want to get stupid? Okay? Don't start none, won't be none. That's the bottom line. But instead, you all take the approach of, oh, we need to eliminate all these guns because people like Kyle Rittenhouse are running around intimidating black people when, again, there ain't no black people even in Kenosha like that. That was white on white violence. But the white people that were out there protesting with Black Lives Matter, they were in support of black people. So somehow, vicariously by him killing the white people that he killed, that equates to him killing black people. Like, I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's just, I mean, the whole thing is on video. I don't know what you expected the guy to do. He got separated from the group. Rosenbaum chased him. Shoot me, nigga. Shoot me, nigga. Which doesn't even make any sense. This fucking white guy saying nigga, or a Jewish guy, because Rosenbaum sounds like a Jewish name. But shoot me, nigga. And then he's chasing freaking Kyle Rittenhouse down. Kyle Rittenhouse shoots him. The crowd says get him. Kyle Rittenhouse runs. You got the dude with the skateboard chasing him. You got the dude with the gun who got his bicep blown off, chasing him. And he shoots, the people that were fucking chasing him. It's all on video. I don't know what y'all don't see when it comes to self-defense, when it comes to that. But, yeah, is there a sentiment when it comes to the white gun community about when they think about and fantasize about, going out there and using their guns, they're thinking about, using it against black people? Absolutely. Which reinforces why I say, all the more reason for you to take up arms and freaking defend yourself. It's real simple to understand. The gun laws that were created in this country, truthfully were created to keep guns out of the hands of black people. Starting with your black codes and all your Jim Crow shit. And then, yeah, they passed, what was it, the 1930 something, bill, because they had to deal with the mobsters and Al Capone and all that other shit. Okay, that had nothing to do with black people. That had to do with the cops being outgunned, in the 1930s, during, Prohibition, right? Or was that the 1920s? No, that was I think that was the 1920s, was it? Right? Because the Depression was the 1930s. Right? So with all the speakeasies and shit, I think that was the 1920s, but it might have been the 1930s. I don't know. I don't care. Okay. Then, you had the whole civil rights thing, which is basically what's going on now. Right? And white people got scared because black people were arming themselves. And what did they do? Passed a whole bunch of bills that basically, if you're a convicted felon, you can't have that. Didn't exist before. And then what did they do after that? Start locking niggas up left and right, mass incarceration, right? Then you got the Saturday night special, which is why all of those little small guns, the Jimenez, the Lore, the Cobra, the freaking, what's the other, the Lorson, all those blowback guns, direct blowback guns, which are basically, if you ever look at a Cobra, they're miniature high points. Okay, all those small calibers disappeared. The 32 ACP, the 25 ACP, all those little mouse guns disappeared because of the so-called Saturday night special loophole, which was basically white society knew that black people were disproportionately poor because they got this racist, economic fucking disparity system. So, hey, we know what we're paying black people if we make sure that we set up the system to where, only guns that are on the shelf are guns that are out of black people's price range, or we eliminate all the cheap guns, then we can keep guns out of the hands of black people. Okay, now there was some article that came out recently where freaking Michael Bloomberg was basically trying to, do the same thing. I don't know whether he was buying up all the affordable guns, but again, all the guns that are disappearing off the shelf for about $300. All the $300 guns are the first guns, to go. Your Taurus, G3 or G2C, or your what are the guns? Is about $300. Your Sarzamaz SAR9. That's another excellent one that's actually still on the shelves. Okay. Your old XDs. Not the one with the stupid ass grip zone and it has to say grip zone on the side of the gun, but the XDs, because, they're an old design, and typically older designs are cheaper. There's a whole bunch of guns. You can go over there on a PSA, Palmetto State Armory, and they got them all up there. They got the new Stoger, which is another $300 gun, which is nothing more than the cloned, Gen 3 Glock, the patents are up on, so everybody's making their own version of a Gen 3 Glock. That's why they got the polymer 80 lowers and all that other stuff. Okay, so these are the guns that are easily sold, that people can afford. And as I said before, here you got the Democrats. The governor of New Jersey is trying to do that shit. He's trying to increase fees on gun permits, and he's trying to increase fees on your firearms ID card, because in New Jersey you got to get a handgun, a permit to purchase a handgun. So he's making it from $2, which is what it currently is, to $50. Now, who is that going to disproportionately affect more? Not only that, is that going to keep guns out of the hands of Pookie and all the inner city violence that goes on in the black? Is that going to stop the drug dealers from getting access to guns? Is that going to stop the criminals in the black community from getting access to guns? Do you think that they go to their local police station and get fingerprinted and go through all that shit and send out 2 references and go through the psychological background and everything? You think they do all that shit? They don't do all that shit. It's the law-abiding black people who go through all that stuff. Working people who recently, due to coronavirus, ain't no telling what's going on with them financially. And here you got Governor Murphy talking about, we're going to reduce gun violence by increasing the fees on all the people who go through the actual fucking background checks. But it's all about background checks. We need more background checks, because to stop all the gun violence, as though the criminals in the street are going through background checks. It's nonsensical. And then, for the coup de grace, okay, for all you black folks out there, there's and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are not trying to take people's guns away, which are disproportionately going to affect black people. They're not trying to take people's guns away. First off, you go on the Joe Biden website and just type in Joe Biden gun control, and it lists the gun. Hold on, I'm gonna fucking do it right here, since y'all so goddamn lazy. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up right here. Joe Biden gun control. Let's see what comes up. Joe Biden's plan to end gun violence. Let's look at this list. Here. I'm on the website. Donate. How much you want to donate? $15, $32, $50, $100, $250, $500, $2,800, or other. Right? So the Joe Biden plan to end our gun violence epidemic. Blah, blah, blah. So here we go. Here's his list. Hold gun manufacturers accountable. In 2005, Senator Biden voted against the Protection Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, but gun manufacturers successfully lobbied Congress to secure its passage. So basically, this bill basically protects the gun industry from frivolous lawsuits. Like, in other words, let's say somebody goes out there and misuses a Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat. Okay. And, is drinking and driving, takes the car with 700 horsepower, all the way up to damn near 200 miles an hour, crashes the car, the car rolls over, bursts into flames, and kills, little Keisha. Okay. Who was playing hopscotch on the side of the road. Okay. So this law is basically akin to a law that basically says, and again, If you keep it in the car category, you'd see how ridiculous the law is in terms of guns. All this, oh, we want to sue the gun manufacturers. It's their fault that somebody misused the product, right? Again, are we able to sue auto manufacturers because they design a car that has 700 horsepower and somebody goes out there as a drunk driver and misuses the vehicle and kills somebody? Can you go and sue the manufacturer? This drunk driver killed my loved one, and I should be able to sue the car company for manufacturing the car for the misuse of their product. No, that's ridiculous. So why does anybody think that people should be able to sue gun manufacturers? What's the next one? Get weapons of war off of our streets. The ban of assault weapons and high capacity magazines, blah, 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 blah. Again, has nothing to do with fucking black people, because the vast majority of gun violence in the black community is handguns. It's not assault weapons. So that ain't got nothing to do with us. You know, on top of the fact, when the white people want to talk about mass shootings in these predominantly white schools, again, black schools had metal detectors. We haven't had a mass shooting ever in a predominantly black school. Yeah, sure, in the community around the neighborhood, there's gun violence in the neighborhood because you have, nothing there but a narco economy. But in the school, nobody has walked in the school and said, I'm going to kill everybody with this assault weapon. That hasn't happened. Why? Because we got security guards and freaking metal detectors and shit. Again, all of this has been good enough for black people, but somehow it's not good enough for white people. Since when do black people get first dibs on safety and security? No, the problem is that white people do not want metal detectors and security guards put in their schools because it's a testament to white dysfunction and white pathological behavior and violence, and they don't want that symbol up there. They want to go around and say, blame it on something else. Our children are not like that. It's just one or two bad apples. They don't want to make it appear like white people are so fucked up that they got to go and they got to put metal detectors, just like those black people who are the inferior race in their schools. They need that shit because, black people are just inherently violent. But us white people, no, we don't need that. All we have to do is say, stop the violence. And we stop because, we follow the rules. We know how to behave, unlike those coloreds. Ban the manufacture and sale of assault weapons and high capacity magazines. Again, first off, if you ban the sale of assault weapons, right, you wouldn't need to limit the capacity, right, because you've already banned the assault. It's like one goes with the other, right? I mean, this is a classic example of like, you can borrow the car, but there's no gas in it. Right. Classic example of that. Right. The magazines are integral to the gun. Right. You got less bullets. You're less effective at protecting yourself. You're also less effective of committing a mass shooting. Yeah, true. That goes with it. But you're also less effective at defending yourself. Regulate the possession of existing assault weapons under the national. Yeah, so that's we're coming for your guns. We're coming for your guns part. Individuals possessing machine guns. First off, machine guns are already highly regulated. And not only that, they're fucking cost prohibitive. Your average person can't buy a fucking machine gun. Go online and look at the price. Google the price of a fully automatic M16 that was made before 1986. I guarantee you it will be up there, upwards of freaking $20,000, possibly $30,000. Okay, so basically all that was passed with the Hughes Amendment was basically saying only rich people can have fully automatic weapons. But if you actually said only rich people can have, hold on, let me clarify, only rich white people can have, because that's who really got the money to be able to buy some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I highly doubt that you even have one NBA player that has a fully automatic machine gun. I highly doubt that you even have one. Okay, but again, when it comes to the white folks, you know what I'm saying? See, people they don't get this shit. It's like with black people, it's like if they discriminate against you economically or financially, it goes completely over your head. But if they discriminate against you, on the basis of race, you lose your shit. even though, again, race and resources, or race and access to capital or money in America, or how much money you're making, are intimately intertwined. It's always been that way because America was founded on a racist foundation. Blacks at the bottom, whites at the top. How do you keep whites at the top? You make sure that white people always have more resources than black people, plain and simple. So if laws are passed that basically price black people out of the market, it's discriminating against your black ass. But so many of you all don't want to get that or understand that. Buy back the assault weapons or high capacity mag. Again, yeah, okay. And what happens if I don't want to sell? What happens if I don't want to sell? Or register them under the National Firearms Act. Yeah, which means that they're going to register so that we know that you have it, so that later on, when we decide to pass a more restrictive law, like what you saw in fucking New Zealand or Australia or some shit, we know where to come and get them. We know how to, we know where you live, we know what you have, and we're going to come and decide later on that we're just going to ban this, like you saw in Canada or what you saw in New Zealand, because, you know, we don't like it, even though Canada's not even a real fucking country. It's a freaking commonwealth underneath the freaking monarchy of fucking England, but that's a whole different conversation. Okay, they don't have a they didn't fight, you know, the British to gain independence. Okay, they gained independence through royal ascension. It's not even really independence. There's no difference between any of the fucking Caribbean islands and freaking you know, the Canada. They might as well call it the Canadian islands. That's why the Queen is on the back of their money. Reduce stockpiling of weapons. In order to reduce stockpiling by legislation, restricting the number of firearms an individual may purchase per month. First off, that doesn't stop the stockpiling of weapons. Okay, in other words, what they're actually trying to do, 1 gun per month. No, that stops, if anything, or limits people who go out and straw purchase. Like I had somebody who left a comment yesterday talking about Breonna, because basically what's coming out is that Breonna Taylor, you know, she was like the money person with the, you know, Jamarcus Glover and all that shit. Any one of them could have got shot. And what ended up happening was freaking Kenneth Walker, you know, he shot at police because he thought it wasn't police, and the police shot back, and Breonna Taylor was standing in the hallway and she got killed. Okay, but you know, if anybody at any of the police other locations that they raided shot at the police, chances are they would have been fired upon. But what was I saying about so I had a brother come at me talking about, you know, well, she didn't have a criminal history. Again, nobody has a criminal history until they get caught. I mean, let's be real about that. You act like, I mean, he said that shit as though every drug dealer that's currently out there selling drugs has a felony record. You got people, I mean, I was just watching Freeway Rick Ross on Vlad TV. He talked about that. He was like, yeah, there's guys that got out the game. You know, he was like, I was too greedy. You know what I mean? They made they $700,000 or whatever, and they got out the game. They bought a house in the suburbs, bought a diesel truck, and called it a fucking day, and took whatever other money they had and turned it into a legitimate business. You know what I'm saying? And they were big time drug dealers. But again, you know, nobody knows because they got out of the game. They never got caught. You know, so the whole idea, like, oh, you got a squeaky clean record, and so therefore you can't be in some shit. I'm like, look, and I have my frustration with this because of all the, black women are perfect and they can do no wrong and they're just angelic and all this other stuff. And oh, she's educated, so she can't be in them streets. Bullshit. Like I said in the comment, like more than half of the damn guns that are out here that black men are using to kill each other are guns that are being had from women who are making straw purchases for their boyfriend. Oh, you love me, right? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, you know, I need you to do this for me. Da, 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 da. Okay. And she goes and do it because her record is clean because women aren't out there in the streets directly like men are. But that doesn't mean that they don't participate in the shit. Like I say in Philly, I be in Philly and you see women riding around in brand new Chargers, you know, with 22s on it. That ain't her car. That's her man's car. You know what I mean? Her man who hustles. That's his car. That's his ride. You know what I mean? But yeah, see, people, y'all need to get these women off of a goddamn pedestal. You know, and the women themselves, I call bullshit on them and run around. Oh, we don't have nothing to do. And but you got black women walking through airports with fucking cocaine stuffed in their fucking vagina. Like, fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Niggas be rapping about the shit in their songs, talking about women doing the shit for them. That's why they got female cops to do cavity searches and all that type of shit. Because they know that the woman is less likely to be searched or less likely to be assumed to be participating in the situation, because women get that benefit of the fucking doubt. She got the clean record. Let her go in the gun store and do the background check and then pass the shit over to me. Like this nigga act like that shit don't go on. You know what I'm saying? All you gotta do is do a Google search and type in woman arrested for straw purchase or gun traced back to woman who bought straw purchase for Chicago drug dealer or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? They getting caught all the time. First off, if you buy more than one gun, you getting a visit from the fucking ATF. I'll let you know that right now. If you purchase more than one gun, you know, they're on to the whole straw purchase game. You get a woman who's 25 years old and she goes in the store and buys three freaking Gen 5 Glocks. Like, come on. Why does a 25-year-old need 3 Glocks? ATF is on to that shit, man. You know what I mean? But some of y'all niggas that out here and y'all act like you know some shit about the street. I'm a fucking lame and I know this shit. Damn, I mean this is just some critical thinking ass shit. Again, the white dude that I told y'all about that got caught with the domestic charge of slapping up his first wife because she was cheating on him, okay? He got a whole gang of guns in his fucking house that he bought. And again, what did he do? He went out there and got his wife, his current wife, to buy all the shit that he has, okay? She out there buying ridiculous gun, fucking Tavors and DP12s, I mean, some real crazy looking like it's straight out of Aliens type of shit. Looking like she in the store like, I think I'll have that freaking pulse rifle. Yeah, I want the pulse rifle. The one with the underbarreled shotgun that goes with it. Like really? Like your dainty ass is buying this shit? No, bitch, you buying that shit for somebody else. And I'm pretty sure that even some of the guys working at the gun counter, they know that you want what? You want this? Yeah, the gun that's bigger than you are? Yes, I want that. No, again, yeah, and I'll just put it on. I'll just put it on my credit card. Yeah, your credit card that your fucking husband pays for because he told your ass to go to the store and get daddy what he wants. You know what I'm saying? Like, please, he married you. They got a kid together. What she gonna say? No? Fuck out of here. Anyway, this shit with the stockpiling, it doesn't even address what it's supposed to, which is the straw purchase, which is why I brought up that whole story with the Breonna Taylor and the idea that women don't do favors, for their drug dealing boyfriend. Fuck out of here. Okay, so the stockpiling, it ain't got nothing to do with stockpiling. It's not a matter of stockpiling. It's a matter of straw purchases. That's why certain states have one gun a month situations, because they don't want to hide. They don't want somebody going in there buying 3 guns. But that's totally one gun a month purchase shit is unnecessary, because I'm telling you, if you buy more than 1 gun, you will get a visit from the ATF. It might be more. It might be 3 guns, like 3 of the same type of guns or whatever. If you buy, absolutely, if you buy 3, you will be visited by the ATF. 2, I don't know. Some people do, they'll buy a shotgun and they'll buy a pistol or something like that. It depends. But if you buy like 3 Sky pistols, the SCCY pistols, if you buy 3 of those, Alexa, stop. If you buy 3 of those, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna have that situation. Alexa probably listen to me all the time. I don't make my videos around Alexa like that. But anyway, okay, that's cool. Keep guns out of dangerous hands. The federal background check system, blah, blah, blah. We already have a federal background check system. Close the loopholes that allow people who should be prohibited from purchasing firearms from making those purchases. Like what? What is not prohibited that's already prohibited? See, this is where they get into like the boyfriend loophole. Like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is a boyfriend loophole? Oh, so you mean like any bitch I'm fucking with that gets mad at me because I break up with her and I'm fucking her best friend or some shit like that? She gets to go, oh, I know Pete. He got tons of guns. Yeah, yeah, and you know, like that's what the loophole is. He put his hands on me. He did this. He did that. Yeah, he threatened me with a gun. Yeah, go in there and take his guns. Require background checks for all gun sales. Yeah, so this is the elimination of private sales, which is going to require pretty much all guns to be registered. Because how can you, if somebody goes out there and lives in a state that has laxer gun laws, right? If they bought a gun 10 years ago from somebody else at a you know, in a parking lot somewhere or whatever, in state, because you can only do that in state, you know, when it comes to handguns, because there's this whole interstate handgun thing, which again was designed to make sure that black men in Georgia couldn't drive into South Carolina and get the guns that they wanted, because back then they didn't have a national database background check. They didn't have computers like that. Now you got the instant background check. So why can't I buy a gun in freaking Ohio or Pennsylvania or New York or Delaware? Why can't I buy a gun in another state and then just have them do the background check just like they do in New Jersey, right? I'm saying it's a federal NICS check. Doesn't matter what state I'm in the country. They can run my freaking information, right? But see, again, this is a way for the states to, you know, it was originally designed to control black people, but this is a way for states to basically control, you know, who can buy a gun. So then when you get to states that have like things like New Jersey, like a permit to purchase, where in Pennsylvania, you just walk in the store and buy a gun. If I was a Pennsylvania resident or versus being a New Jersey resident cannot just go in the store and buy a gun. He has to go to the police station, go and get the, you know, do the whole process all over again, get the references, go through the psychological background check, all this redundancy in the system. Then he's got to get the permit to purchase, and then he can go to the store and buy the handgun. Only in New Jersey. He can't go to Pennsylvania and actually get what he wants, where the store is actually stocked with all the guns that he wants. In New Jersey, pretty much everybody orders what they want online and has it transferred to an FFL who doesn't keep anything in his store that you would want, you know, because, you know, he makes all his money off of transfer fees and shit like that. What else we got on here? Close the loopholes, the federal background check system. In addition, see right here, in addition to closing the boyfriend loophole. Again, using women to, you know, again, the Amber Heard type shit, false accusations. This bitch is mad. She's not even your wife. You know what I mean? Making up lies about you. And this thing, you know, as a guy, you lose your gun rights, right? They're using women because men own more guns than women. Reinstate the Obama-Biden policy to keep guns out of the hands of certain people unable to manage their affairs for mental reasons, you know, which President Trump, you know, reversed. Yeah. So again, saying that, you know, if for whatever reason you can't handle your finances, and I don't even know what the details are on that, but to say that, okay, well, you don't have the mental capacity to you know, handle, you know, a firearm. You know, I don't even know why that's on the list. You know what I mean? Like as though there's some like crazed retired veteran out here that's shooting the place up. Like it's just like it's like an added like, okay, well, we want to take it from this. Like, in other words, if we can't do a sweeping, take guns away from people, then we'll go like group by group and we'll come up with reasons and justifications, you know. So any man dating a woman, we're gonna put that underneath the boyfriend loophole. You know, anybody who, for whatever reason, you let somebody else manage your money, we're going to put that underneath the, you have mental disabilities and therefore it should know. Like, so it's just these vague, broad, you know, categorizations that they narrow down to specific groups because they can't do the overwhelming broad spectrum of just banning guns. Close the hate crime loophole. Legislation prohibiting an individual who has been convicted of a misdemeanor hate crime or received an enhanced sentence of a misdemeanor because of a hate bias or commission from purchasing or possessing a firearm. Now, see, black people, well, they would look at that and they would be like, yeah, that's great. No, it's not great. No, it's not great. Because first off, I mean, look at the standard misdemeanor, low level. Okay, what hate crime is a misdemeanor? I don't know, but I'm saying a misdemeanor hate crime. What the fuck is that? A Facebook post? So let's flip it. Let's say you're a black person and some white people called you a nigger today at school or something like that, or at the office or whatever, and you went the fuck off and you started saying, I'm sick of white people, right? Because you were in your feelings and you made a Facebook post or you said something, right? And that could be interpreted as a hate bias or some shit like that, right? Again, because you know how white people always try to make it like a two-way street, like the hate flows in both direction. Like black people's response to racism is racism. You know how white people like to do that, right? So like when we don't like them because of the shit that they do, they try to claim that it's like this equal reciprocal level of hatred towards white people as white people have towards black people. When white people hate black people because they feel that they're superior. When black people hate white people, it's because white people have a history of doing fucked up shit towards black people, right? But, they try to equalize the two things. So while y'all running around saying, oh, this is a good thing, and you thinking about Kyle Rittenhouse or Dylan Roof or whatever white person that you want to slap their hateful label on, oh, this shit could definitely be a thrown on you with some black identity extremism just because, you're pro-black and you're pro-black empowerment and you want to, counter all the shit that's been done to the black community. That, again, there's plenty of videos that have spoken, to these issues about the system of white supremacy and how it has affected the black community economically with redlining and blockbusting and eminent domain and the 1956 Highway Commission Act and freaking the dumping of drugs in the black community and everything. And so if you speak out against that, you lose your gun rights because somewhere in there, you're going to call white people to fuck out and they're going to be in their feelings and say that, oh my God, you hate white people because how dare you call us out for the historic contextualized shit that we've done to black people? How dare you? You must hate white people. That's what it is. You just hate us. No, I hate the shit that y'all did. No. You just hate us. You make sure that nigga doesn't get a gun because he hates white people. Ain't no telling what he'll do. Close the Charleston loophole. Charleston loophole allows people to complete firearms purchases in the back. Yeah, that's that whole 3-day shit. So basically they want to sit on if the government doesn't do their job with the background check, they want to be able to sit on the shit pretty much indefinitely. What does it say? To put on the desk within 100 days, which checks are not complete within 10 days. Instead, federal government can take to reduce and eliminate. Okay, so they want to extend the timeline to 10 days, not 3 days. So it's not indefinite. They want to extend it to 10 days so that they can deal with the background checks, right? Which the only reason why they can't handle the background checks now and arguably they're saying they're going over the 3-day limit is because you have pretty much a huge, 5 million new gun owners? The system was never designed to handle this many people buying guns right now. Right, but they're trying to seize it as an opportunity to put something permanent in place, as opposed to something transient in place, like signing a bill that increases the number of agents that they have that can do background checks, so that background checks are done more efficiently and faster, to handle the new volume of people who are buying firearms. But instead, they want to create this shit that delays you. For another number of days if they don't get to you on the background check. So I feel really bad for the people out in Cali who already have to wait 10 days, right, for the cool down period, right, which is stupid. Which, look, I'll even go with that. I'll entertain that for the first gun purchase. Wait 10 days or whatever. Okay, I'll entertain that. Because you do have people who they'll go to gun ranges and commit suicide or buy a gun and go and kill their wife, even though they could probably do it with their bare hands or a knife or whatever. But I'm just saying, right, the cool down period. But this is what doesn't make sense about the cool down period, right? If I'm already a gun owner, right, and I plan on going out and committing a crime or killing my spouse or whatever, right, and I go to the gun store to buy my second gun, if I was going to commit a crime, why wouldn't I just commit the crime with the first gun that I own? that I already went through the 10-day background check for. See, all this shit is designed to do is to slow down the it's just designed to make it as inconvenient as possible for the people who've already been vetted, for the people who've already passed the background check. That's why in Georgia and some other states, if you have a CCW or a concealed carry license, you don't have to go through the next background check because you've already been vetted. Right? If you have a concealed carry, if the government has deemed you, or the local government has deemed you as qualified to carry around a loaded firearm, when you go to buy another gun from the gun store, why do you need to go through another NICS background check? They already know that you're not a felon, hence the fact that you have a CCW, right? They already know that. So if you already went through that to go get the CCW, why do you need to go through a NICS background check? Again, and see that even that adds to the delay process in checking backgrounds. When they want to talk about the Charleston loophole, and if we didn't get to you yet, and the person got their gun within 3 days that shouldn't have got the gun because the system was backed up. Okay, so why don't you take the people who've already been vetted and already have their concealed carry licenses out of the system so that there's no redundancy and they're not backing up the system? Close the fugitive from justice loophole created by Trump administration. What is this? I've never heard of this. Because of actions of Donald Trump administration, records almost 500,000 fugitives from justice who are prohibited from purchasing firearms were deleted from the background check system. The Biden administration will restore those records and enact legislation. There's not enough detail here. I want to know why were these people removed from the system? End of the online sales of firearm ammunitions. Why? Biden will enact legislation to prohibit all online sales of firearms, ammunition kits, and gun parts. See, notice how loaded that is. The first part says end online sale of firearms and ammunitions, right? So first off, online sales of ammunition, that's how you buy your ammunition wholesale, and you get around the middleman, which is typically the gun store, even though you probably should support your brick and mortar gun stores. But in online sales, this guy is talking as though when you buy guns online, it goes directly to your doorstep. Okay, that's like what they used to do back in the 20s and 1930s and shit. If you wanted a Tommy gun, you bought the Tommy gun and it got shipped directly to your door. They actually used to mail firearms directly to people's doors. That's how lax American gun laws were in the past. Right. So end online sale of firearm ammunition. Biden will enact legislation to prohibit online sales of firearms, ammunition, kits, and gun parts. Okay, kits and gun parts. Remember, the only part of like an AR-15 that is the part that has to go to the FFL is the lower receiver. All other components can be shipped directly to your door, right? Because without the lower receiver, it's not a firearm, all right? It's not even going to function as a firearm. So, like, again, these are things in here to basically cripple firearms gun ownership, period. Okay, my firearm broke. Oh, now, okay, I need a new firing pin. So now you're telling me I can't order a new firing pin online? A firing pin by itself is meaningless. Unless I already have the firearm, I can't do anything with just a firing pin. It's just a component. You see? But see, they're trying to eliminate this, right? Even though federally, it is perfectly legal to manufacture your own firearm. It's perfectly legal. It's always been perfectly legal. But see, you got states, like New York and New Jersey. Oh, we don't want you making these polymer because we can't keep a track of it. We can't trace it, right? As opposed to dealing with the, I don't care if somebody manufactures their own firearm. As far as I'm concerned, it's not a problem unless they do something illegal with that firearm. I don't even care if a felon has a firearm that they manufactured, as long as they don't do anything illegal with the firearm, as long as there's no illegal act. Like, in other words, them just simply being a felon, and let's say a felon's like, hey, I can't get a gun, I can't go through a background check, and they go and they manufacture their own gun, and they want to protect themselves, not a problem. I'm not sweating that. It's not until they go out there and they commit crimes. And see, this is where I got to agree with the white conservatives when they say, yeah, when people commit crimes, okay, you need to put them in jail. And stop with all this, freaking, the plea bargains and all that other bullshit. Okay. But I take that with a grain of salt because again, I'm like, if we want to eliminate criminals, the goal is not just to, throw people in jail just indefinitely. And that's just the end of them. Right. That didn't work with the 1994. All that did was bust up homes and everything else. See, I can't stand these people that are always on some, put a Band-Aid on a hemorrhaging wound. OK, as opposed to dealing with the root of the problem. But we all know that dealing with the root of the problem, is going to cost something. And they don't want it to cost something. So they want these quick fixes, as opposed to actually dealing with the root of the problem. And I'm like, that's dumb. In the long run, it ends up costing them more. Hell, how many white politicians are getting wealthy off of the backs of working class white people by creating the prison industrial complex and using tax dollars to pay for prisons? And then instead of paying, I don't know, maybe $1,200 per pupil for a student, okay, that would increase the quality of students and the education that people are getting. No, we don't want to have to pay tax dollars for that. But instead, they'll pay tax dollars on the back end, paying $3,000, for, an inmate for, the housing and the shelter and the food and the clothing and the security and everything else. Like how much does it cost per prison inmate versus how much it costs in taxes per inner city black student? Tell me, I guarantee you that the cost for the prisoner is more than the cost of tax dollars for the student. But you'll never hear white people sit there and be like, wait a minute. Especially all those, it's all about money and it's all about, saving a dollar and it's all about fiscal conservatism. You'll never hear them jump up and say, hey, wait a minute. We should be investing in inner city black schools. Why are we paying more money on the back end as opposed to paying less money on the front end? And these motherfuckers swear that they're so good with finances and math and they know how to be fiscally conservative and financially responsible. But yet, again, speaking to the system of white supremacy, the goal is not to, look at it from a financial standpoint. No, it's lock the niggas up. We want them out of society. We do not want them competing with us in the economic marketplace for jobs and economic opportunities. So we want to have this population of people that is essentially a pariah to society and keep it that way. And the white elites are more than willing to oblige that because they get to sit there and always run around saying that, that they're doing something by creating policies that keep the niggas in check. And the white people, they eat it up. They just just sucking their fingers, eating that shit the fuck up. Create an effective program to ensure individuals who become prohibited from possessing firearms relinquish their weapons. Federal laws designed to blah, blah. But basically, that's already in place. The issue is again, if police officers or don't do their job, they don't do their job. I mean, plain and simple. I'm not saying that that's something that I agree with. I mean, disagree with. I don't disagree with this. I'm like, yeah, again, make sure that they do their job. Plain and simple. Incentive, state extreme risk laws. Yeah. So this is more of that, this is more of that, thought crimes and minority report shit, saying people are, crazy and they should have their rights taken away, first, as opposed to going through due process to just simply run around and accuse you of extreme things. Now, again, black people will sit there and be like, yeah, we got to stop the Dylon Roos. If you're posting racist shit on Facebook, yeah, make red flag law. Yeah, y'all co-sign that until that cannon gets pointed in your direction. So now you go up there and you posted some pro-black shit on Facebook, and now, because again, the white people that, all to them, all pro-blackness is always anti-white. And so, this black person posted this. I mean, that's what happened to the dude with Gorilla Mainframe. You know what I'm saying? Went down there and, oh, you were the black identity extremist, red flag his ass. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, I just don't know what black people don't get about that. You say that the laws don't work, right? This is the part that black people, they completely, I do not understand them on this, right? Y'all will say, like, example, like, stand your ground laws. Stand your ground laws. It's not about the law being wrong. It's about the application of the law being wrong. But Marissa Alexander wasn't a good example because she left the house, went to her car, retrieved the firearm, went back in the house. Not a good example. But black people are like, oh, the laws don't work for us. The laws don't work for us. But notice when black people want think that these laws are going to somehow narrowly affect what they believe to be white supremacists, they're all for the laws. But it's like they're too simple-minded to realize that these laws could easily be flipped around on them, which they are. Which I'm like, what don't you get about that? You're filing the complaint that the laws are not applied fairly when it comes to black people, even though the law's on the books and it says, oh, you should do this and do that, but they're either disproportionately applied to black people or inappropriately applied to black people. But somehow black people keep thinking that if they co-sign the idea of the creation of more laws, that these laws are somehow going to be applied in black people's favor. On what planet? You just got finished saying that the cops is racist and the cops is out here indiscriminately shooting black people and are not the law enforcement officers that I believe 93% of all of America's law enforcement is Caucasian and I don't know what percentage is male, but the majority are white males. So you really think passing a law is going to make these white male race soldier, racist police officers that you just got finished saying are racist somehow enforce the law in your favor? You're fucking delusional. Give states incentives to set up gun licensing program. Biden enact legislation to give states and local grants to require individuals to obtain licenses prior to purchasing a hand. Yeah, so he wants to create basically a federal permit to purchase a handgun. Adequately fund same bullshit they got going on in Jersey. Adequately fund background check system. President Obama, blah, 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 blah. Okay, if the background system is not properly funded, okay, fund it. Like, no, I have no objection to that. Addressing deadly combination of guns and domestic violence. Where's this at? Statistics devastating, overwhelming factor, blah, blah, blah. Partner violence. 80% children killed in shootings and 4 victims, da, 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 da. Again, more, using women, to, Violence Against Women Act and, all this other stuff, right? And then women co-sign this, completely ignoring that the greatest equalizer between a man and a woman is a firearm. And I'm like, go get trained and learn how to use a firearm and be able to protect yourself from any man that attempts to abuse you. But again, this is more, feelings and emotion. Oh, women, and men, they commit, more women die at the hands of freaking blunt force trauma, stabbings, strangulation, and I think those are the main ones, and then anything else. So men don't need guns to kill women if they wanted to kill women. Men are bigger, stronger, faster than women. Okay, so trying to eliminate, the what's the word that I'm looking for? The advantage, the physical advantage men have over women is just dumb. But anyway, establish new task force for online harassment abuse, focus on connection between mass shootings, online harassment, and again, more thought crime bullshit. Don't get me wrong. Anybody making a real threat, like, I'll kill you, anybody making a legitimate real threat, talking real crazy, and everybody's looking at the motherfucker like, yo, this nigga talking crazy online. You're like, yeah, okay, yeah. Shut that person down, send an investigation, social worker, all that shit. If they're up there really talking fucking crazy, which unfortunately is just arbitrary as fuck. But I'm saying, all this, we're going to get you for thought crimes and see, you're running into the dangerous territory of being anti-free speech here. Okay. I'm not saying that hate speech is necessarily free speech, but, at the same time, you're running dangerously close. And I'm telling you, I tell black people all the time, I'm like, yo, sooner or later, a pro-black speech is going to be deemed hate speech. I've already seen the white people trying to do it. They're like, oh, you just hate white people. That bullshit. Expand the use of evidence-based lethality assessments by law enforcement in case of domestic violence. Again, trying to make the whole, again, women are the least victims when it comes to freaking violence. Any type of violence. The overwhelming victims of violence are men. Male on male. Period. And then not only that, this doesn't address, and I'm not saying doesn't address because, men typically do own the firearms, but I'm saying, again, here we go with the women never commit domestic violence. Women never commit abuse, right? Going into the whole Amber Heard, Johnny Depp situation. So where are we at? Make sure firearm owners take responsibility for ensuring weapon safety. Yeah, so, this is telling you that you have to lock your weapons up, which makes them, pretty much, useless. Although I do believe, first off, I think, anytime you see the situation where the kids get killed because the parents leave a gun around and whatnot, that's just irresponsible parenting. You're not going to be able to legislate away stupidity. Okay? Leaving a gun around and there's a child around, not teaching the gun about the dangers of the weapon or not to touch the weapon, whatever, however you want to do it. Leaving a gun around with a round loaded in the chamber in the house. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand that, but, I think the parents have suffered enough when their child, I don't think any parent wants their child to die at the hands of, playing with a firearm that they, irresponsibly left on the table. Hold adults accountable for giving minors access to firearms. Yeah, that's more of the locking weapons up shit. Require gun owners to safe storage. I knew it was coming. Yeah, safe storage, which, basically makes the firearm useless, in the moment that you need it. Empower law enforcement effectively enforce our gun laws. Prioritize prosecution of straw purchases. I agree with this one. If you straw purchase and that gun is used in a crime, you should be locked up, period. You should probably get half the time that the person that committed the crime got when you do the straw purchase. That needs to be, and see, this is what I'm saying. This is something that should be focused on. Straw purchases, people who have clean background checks, who willingly give a firearm to somebody who they know is a criminal, that should be, the priority of, law enforcement. But it's not. Notify law enforcement when a potential firearm purchaser fails to notify law enforcement when a potential firearm purchaser fails a background check. First off, you're not even going to catch too many people when it comes to that. Not to mention the fact that maybe somebody doesn't know, that they're a prohibited person now for whatever reason. Especially, more of the stuff like things like restraining orders. You know what I mean? If you have a woman put a restraining order on you, I don't know if it's in every state, but in a lot of states, you now become a temporary prohibited person because of that restraining order. And a woman that can put a restraining order without your knowledge. So you can sit there and you sitting there and you la-di-da-di-da, and next thing you know, you got a freaking restraining order on your ass. Now, I'm saying it's probably unlikely that you're not going to know you have a restraining order and then simultaneously go and just so happen to go and buy a gun and you don't know that you still have a restraining order. But like example, in Detroit, in Michigan, when a couple separates and they get divorced, the man automatically gets a restraining order put on him. He automatically gets a temporary restraining order put on him. This is law. Cap told me this one. I was like, damn. I was like, really? It was like, yep, you automatic. If you separate, the man automatically gets a temporary restraining order put on him. He told me a story about some guy. He had to go through a whole bunch of shit, with that because it fucked him up in some way. And he was trying to do something, and they were like, "Sir, do you know you have a restraining order?" And he was like, "What?" But this is what goes on. So, sitting there and a guy goes and tries to buy a gun and he doesn't know he has a temporary restraining order on him. I'm like, oh, so now he's got to go to jail? requires firearm owners to report if their weapon is lost or stolen. I agree with that one because that's the way that people get around, the straw purchase thing. Oh, well, what happened to the gun that you bought on, June 7th? Oh, yeah, I lost it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they didn't report it. It's like, that's a straw purchase, right? Or they buy a gun and then give it to somebody and then later claim it to be stolen. That way they cover their ass. But only, way after, that firearm is, the reported gun stolen a year after it was, straw purchased away, right? Stop ghost guns, right? So this goes into the whole manufacturing your own firearm, which is federally legal. And again, this only became an issue because of, these the polymer lowers and, the Glock 80 lowers, the P80 lowers, the fact that, you got the 3D printing that's, coming into vogue because, now, before it was never an issue because you didn't have 3D printers. But now, the cost of 3D printers are coming down. Like, this is not something that you're going to be able to stop. Technology is progressive, and that's just the reality of it. It's like what I said, when it comes to, people say, oh, the Second Amendment was designed to, have a balance between the government and the people. Okay, well, what happens if all the cops, technology advances, and every police officer gets an Iron Man suit? Or every soldier gets an Iron Man suit. Well, wouldn't that make all the the guns that exist now obsolete? We would need those damn some Predator shoulder cannons or some Iron Man gloves that shoot lasers out of them in order to there still to be a balance of power. So as technology moves forward, what American society is just going to be regulated to combustion rifles while everybody else is using fucking lasers or whatever the hell else they're using. You see? You know what I mean? Like, I'll just imagine, like, if mankind develops, FTL travel, faster than light travel and everything, what are we going to do? Regulate speed limits or some shit like that? You know what I mean? You're going to have all type of new laws that'll come into, those, you'll be like on some Han Solo shit and they'll be like, Han Solo, this is the Federation. Do you realize that you broke code 06297B-J when you went into the Omega Quadrant? You know what I mean? Like that, literally, that's going to be like what's going to happen. You're going to have all these sort of crazy laws, do you know that it was illegal for you to people bringing back exotical animals from, other planets and shit like that. It is illegal for you to import a quadrillite into the fourth sector. It'll be all type of alien Star Wars type shit, that they'll have and whatnot. Oh, you can't have this. You can't have that. You know what I mean? What's going to happen when they have flying cars, if they ever have that, and anti-gravity and all that, shit that alien scientist talks about with the Bose-Einstein condensates and, the freaking magnetic ferrofluids and all that other shit, the anti-gravity stuff that the government really has at the DOJ, but nobody wants to talk about the shit. But anyway, it's a whole different conversation. But I'm saying, what's going to happen when, if we have this whole, Fifth Element world and people can fly around with cars and, they'll have to come up with new tickets that you can get that, you were parked over a federal building. That's illegal from by definition of law number or code number 6729. I'm telling you, man, it'll be on some Judge Dredd shit. Direct the ATF to issue annual report on firearms trafficking. Okay, I don't have any problem with that. Tackle urban gun violence with targeted evidence-based community interventions. Okay, so let's get into this because now they're talking about black people. Daily acts of violence committed in communities may not take national headlines. Blah blah blah. Survivors, victims. Blah 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 blah. Blah, 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 feelings and emotions. There's proven strategies of reducing gun violence, urban communities without turning to incarceration. Okay, we're getting somewhere. For example, group violence intervention, organizations, community leaders Work with individuals. You know what's not going to be in here. Are you already predicting it? You already know what's not going to be in here. Most likely to commit acts of violence, express the community demands of gun violence stop, connect individuals who may be likely perpetrators with social and economic support services. Oh, here we are. I'm surprised. It is in here. Economic support services. But what I really was looking for was the actual term jobs, job creation. Economic support services could be welfare. You see the twist there? Didn't say jobs, didn't say gainful employment, didn't say unionized jobs, said economic support. Economic support, social and economic support. So I take that back because that sounds like welfare to me. These types of interventions have reduced homicides by as much as 60%. Hospital-based engages young people who have been injured in gun violence, blah, 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 blah. Create 900 million 8-year initiative to fund these types of evidence-based interventions in 40 cities across. How about you just take the $900 billion and throw that into incentives for corporations and companies to create jobs in these inner city neighborhoods? How about that shit? You go to North Philly right now, there are plenty of old factories that are literally right there in this untouched, unscathed. You know what I mean? They could tear the building down, put up a new building that's more modern and whatever, and do what they got to do. I mean, there is plenty of freaking abandoned factories in Philadelphia the space is there. Take that $900 million, which is nothing, by the way. But I'm saying take that $900 billion and put it towards that shit. That'll reduce the homicides and the gun crime. You know what I'm saying? And then notice, it's just talking about gun crime as though the gun crime doesn't come from somewhere. The gun crime comes from the fucking narcotics trade. You see? But, there's nothing in here to address the jobs, which is why the people are selling the drugs in the first place, which creates the gun violence. As I said before, no drug dealer can sit there and be like, oh, police officers, this other drug dealer on the other side of town stole my drugs. Can you go get him for me? No, he's got to enforce that shit himself. Dedicate the brightest scientific minds to solving gun violence, public health epidemic. This is so dumb. And the brightest scientific, bitch, this ain't motherfucking scientific, yo. This is straight up, where are the fucking jobs? Like, this is what I'm talking about. About Democrats ain't got shit for fucking black people, and they go up there and they present this bullshit that ain't a goddamn solution to the shit. Niggas are selling drugs for the fucking money. And the gun violence is a byproduct of their clash and war over fucking money. You get some gainful employed jobs in there, and you're going to see an end to the gun violence that you see. When people can actually legitimately be incorporated into society, and they are concerned about breaking the law because they actually have something to lose. But see, when people ain't got nothing to lose, what the fuck they care about catching a felony or catching a criminal record or whatever? What do they care about that shit? They're already outside the system. They're already not gainfully employed. They already don't have a 401k or a retirement or any of this other shit. People gotta eat, okay? Fucking survival does not wait for assimilation. $50 million to accelerate research on the CDC. Well, again, why are you spending that $50 million on accelerate research of this? Like this shit, like this is what I'm saying. This is not rocket science. This is not rocket science. This is like literally, what do they call that shit? Pork barrel spending. Like this is just literally wasting of money. And it's not even that much. Prohibit the use of federal funds to arm and train educators to discharge firearms. We should pass rational gun laws not requiring if educators if they want to carry a firearm and they want to be trained to do so to prevent mass shooters, I don't see why you would have to create a law to prohibit them. This is prohibiting teachers from being able to carry firearms or discharge fire federally. I mean, not only that, like look at the lengths that they go to make sure that their precious white children do not have to see a gun at all in schools. Meanwhile, black kids got to walk, through the metal detector and, through the fucking past the security guard, past Otis the security guard with his 6-shot revolver, his J-frame revolver and shit. Because he doesn't believe in Glocks because he don't believe in plastic. You know what I'm saying? Otis probably retired by now, but I'm just saying. Address the epidemic of suicides by firearms. And look at this. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, suicides is epidemic. Yeah, 6 out of 10 gun-related deaths, right? It has it in here. Actually, it's 67% of gun-related deaths. It's closer to 70% of all gun-related deaths are suicide. And the majority of that, folks, are white people. Not black people, white people. They're the ones that are committing suicide. It's mainly middle-aged white men, who, again, their whole identity is based on them, having upward mobility and gainful employment. And when they don't have that, they fucking can't handle the shit and they blow their brains out. Okay. But, suicide, you can't stop people from killing themselves. Plain and simple. You can have all type of interventions and shit like that, but that is not a gun violence issue. That is somebody who wants to off themselves, and a gun is the most effective way to do it. Much better than, carbon monoxide poisoning or fucking, hanging themselves and having to suffer as they fucking cut off, circulation to their brain. Like, who wants to go out that way? With a gun, pow, you're done. After that, you don't feel anything, and that's the end of it. Supporting survivors of violence and their communities. Not to mention, America doesn't even have the highest rate of suicide. Japan has the highest rate of suicide, if not one of the highest rates of suicide. You know what they do in Japan? They jump off of buildings, or they go into that forest, outside of what's the name of that fucking mountain? Mount Fiji, I think it is. There's a forest. You can go on YouTube. They did a Vice video on it. They just go into the woods, and then they either hang themselves or starve themselves to death. They just go there to commit suicide. Japan is a very stressful culture. In terms of, that's why when you look at Japanese, anime and cosplay and all the goofy shit that they do, like, if you look at it, like, you look at like extreme, elimination challenge, think about how wild that shit is. And this is coming out of conservative Japan, where, they bowing at each other and everything's all serious. And, what I'm saying? Hi. They got to bow and everything. Like it's all serious and shit like that. Like, that shit stresses people the fuck out. It's not natural for people to be that way, but that's their society. And so that's why you see the pushback with all the fucking weird, goofy shit that you see in Japanese anime and Japanese cartoons and, just Japanese entertainment. Like, they're wild with it because that's how they let loose. People got to let loose. I do wish that black people had some level of Japanese discipline, but by the same token, they probably look at us and they're just like, those African Americans, they're so free and expressive, and we just love black culture, supporting survivors of violence in the communities. Again, I don't know what that has to do with this is just more feelings. Make federal programs more trauma informed. Create a network of trauma care centers, train healthcare, and this is, like, the rest of this shit is just fluff. Like, this isn't really even saying anything. Train healthcare and other service providers in trauma centered care. So this is dealing with mass shootings and them being able to deal with trauma. Which, again, the best trauma surgeons that you're going to see are going to be in urban environments, Chicago, Philadelphia, Camden, that's what you're going to see. Even with that, it's like, notice how, okay, wait, what is this? Train healthcare and other service providers in trauma center. Okay, yeah, but where is we need to increase the number of surgeons? Where's that at? You know what I'm saying? Where's the we need to increase the number of physicians? Where's that at? Where's there going to be some money, for that? If you really want to deal with that, or or debt forgiveness for, people who go into, more trauma-based fields or whatever. Like, where's that at? Again, like, it's not targeted. This shit is not targeted like it needs to be. It's vague, or it solves problems, that don't truly exist. The only thing on here that I really agree with is the straw purchases. That's the only one that I agree with is a good way to end, real violence with real criminals. Is a straw purchase one. Everything else pretty much affects law-abiding citizens. And this is my last point. This was the coup de grace that I was going to talk about before I even went into all that. The last point is, for the people that want to sit there and they want to say Democrats don't want to take your guns, or they don't want to do this, or they don't want to do that. The Second Amendment pretty much prevents that. But because the bitch ass Supreme Court refuses to make a decision on this shit, what has essentially been allowed and has emboldened the Democrats is for them to basically keep and continuously, death by 1,000 paper cuts, create laws that restrict the right into oblivion. If you want to sit there and you want to say that the Democrats are not trying to take people's guns away and whatnot, all you have to do is look at the laws, especially the extreme laws that Democrats have tried to pass in Democratic states. States like New Jersey, states like New York, states like California, and laws that they have passed. Okay? Laws that they have passed. Governor Murphy in New Jersey is trying to increase the fees for handgun permits to purchase a handgun, and trying to increase the cost of a firearm because it's already $60 for a transfer fee, and then he's trying to add another $100 on the purchase of a handgun. So with that, or actually an additional $150. So you're talking, $210 before the gun that you planned on purchasing is even in your hand. So if you buy a $500 Glock, it is now $700. $200. That's a substantial chunk of money when it comes to purchasing a firearm. See, this is doing is punishing the law-abiding people, punishing the people who go through the background checks to purchase the firearms. These are not the people committing the crimes. How does increasing the fees on the people going through the background checks reduce gun violence? And again, as we pointed out, majority of the homicides are inner city, gang-related, drug-related, black-on-black, poverty-related violence. That is what it is. There's about 8,000 to 11,000 homicides per year, and 85% of that is black. We do not have a homicide problem in America, or a gun-related homicide problem in America. What we have is an inner city urban crime epidemic. That is where the problem. This isn't a health epidemic. This is an economic epidemic. But they don't want to treat it as such. And then when you go over to, the suicides, I want you to think about that. When they jump up there and, it's about 34,000 deaths a year. Joe Biden wants to inflate it to 40,000. I don't even know where he got that number from. But they want to say 40,000 people die a year. And 67% of the people who die at the hands of a gun, just gun related and gun violence are not the same thing. But they keep trying to conflate that shit because a lot of you simple-minded dumbasses, and that's what I'm calling you, a lot of you simple-minded dumbasses who eat this bullshit up, you don't even think about it. You think it's all the same. 67% of gun-related deaths are suicide. 67%. Let that marinate in your head. 67% are suicide. Not even, again, America is one of the safest places that you could be in the world. But the way that the media plays it up, oh my God, they think you were in fucking, you were in Mogadishu. You were in Kabul somewhere. You were in Aleppo, and you know what I'm saying? That's what they would have you thinking. You know what I'm saying? You over there in Syria or Libya and whatnot. And fucking ISIS is just driving around looking for people to take out. Like, they would have you believe in that. Most of these people that went out here and bought all these new gun owners, you know what I mean? They're never going to have to fire that weapon in self-defense. You know, unless the economy just absolutely goes to shit and the food, you know, there's food shortages or some shit like that. In a situation like that, that's a completely different situation. It's a completely different situation. You want to deal with mass shooters, then you're going to have to deal with mental health. If you want to deal with inner city black on black crime, then you're going to have to deal with the poverty. Like Martin Luther King said, during that interview, you know what I mean? You're not going to be able to fix poverty without discussing the money aspect. You are not going to fix poverty without it costing anything, because poverty is a condition that is defined by your what? Lack of access to money or lack of capital. That's what the poverty is. Not a state of mind. It is a condition predicated off of you lacking money. So if you're talking about solving poverty and dealing with poverty, it is going to take an infusion of money, either incentivizing the creation of jobs or funding, certain things that are going to give people the skills to get better jobs. Like funding schools and education, which, again, people can say what they want to say about Donald Trump, and all this other stuff. And like I said, I don't care if that man stands up there and says nigga. I don't care what he says. I'm like, and that's another thing. Y'all can talk about, Kim Kardashian all day, and I'm like, she up there trying to get shit done, and not only that, what was I going to say? With the prison reforms, trying to get shit done with prison reform. And then the other, and I'm saying Trump is listening. And then not only that, damn, what was I going to say? It was something about the fucking, did Donald Trump not, now somebody could give me the figures on it, but did Donald Trump not, increase funding for HBCUs? But y'all ain't say, see, I don't know. Like, I don't know what y'all don't understand about a means to an end. I don't care what this man says. I care what he does. Okay? Plain and simple. I don't care about what a bitch says about how strong and independent she is. I know at the end of the day, these women ain't about to fucking get in the trenches like that. The vast majority of them are not. So why are niggas sitting around entertaining whether women can build structures or not? Like that woman said, if a man can build a better structure than I can, I'll eat my head. Black women don't do nothing but build, right? That's what these women, these sassy women that came on that I was, debating online, that's what they said. But for further evidence, I direct you to the conditions of your nearest black community. Where are black women building or maintaining anything? So why are you entertaining the bullshit? I don't give a fuck what a bitch says. I care about what she does. I care about the manner in which she's going to resist me. I care about her interfering with the mentorship of black boys and them getting the proper orientation. That's what I care about. I care about her fucking actions. Fuck what a bitch gotta say. And fuck what Donald Trump gotta say. I'm like, wait a minute, you signed a bill increasing the funding, federal funding for HBCUs that none of other these presidents did, including Barack Obama. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, well, we ain't got nothing to discuss. Carry on. That's what black people should be saying. But instead, and I'm saying, truth be told, Donald Trump wants to be loved so much that if black people were smart, they'd be out here stroking the shit out of Donald Trump's narcissistic personality disorder. They'd be like, oh, Donald Trump, we love you. We support you so much. And Donald Trump be up there talking about, oh, the blacks love me. They love me. Yes, Donald Trump, we love you. But we were wondering, could you do us a favor? yeah, sure. What do you need done? Oh, yeah, we need you to put some funding over here. You know what I mean? Because, we want to be personally responsible, but, we need this right here to be allocated. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm saying y'all can talk all the shit you want. I'm saying he signed that bill that increased federal funding for HBCUs. Or not bill, but, the whatever, the executive order. Now, some people want to say that it didn't do anything. Other people want to say, I'm like, show me the numbers. Show me the numbers. Are HBCUs getting more federal funding? If they're not, then okay, it's bullshit. If they are, I'm like, y'all need to reevaluate your criticisms. Here, this is what I'm going to do, because I'm not going to be lazy on this. Okay, so fact checkers. Did Trump save HBCUs? President engages in useful hyperbole by claiming he rescued historically black colleges, but his administration has made good on some of its promises to support the sector. So it says fact checkers quickly corrected the record after President Trump, during remarks Monday at the Davos Economic Conference, declared that he had rescued historically black colleges and universities. I have saved HBCUs. We saved them, Trump said. They were going out and we saved them. The president's brief comment appeared to refer to bipartisan legislation dubbed the Future Act that the U.S. Congress passed in December. The legislation made permanent $255 million in annual STEM funding for minority serving colleges, including roughly $85 million specifically allocated to HBCUs. While many of the nation's 102 HBCUs face financial pressure and funding stream, to be honest, I didn't even know there was 102 HBCUs. Pressure of funding stream is important to them. It isn't responsible for keeping the doors open. I agree with that. Like that's a stretch. Congress passed the legislation after months-long negotiation over several higher education bills. Trump signed the law. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with my throat. Trump signed the law in December. So as fact checkers rightly noted, it's a stretch at best for the president to claim single-handedly saved the colleges by signing the law. However, the White House and the U.S. Department of Education can make legitimate points when touting their support for the sectors. Things continue on the right path, said Ivory Toldson, a professor of psychology at the Howard University and editor-in-chief of the Journal of Negro Education. I can't say that the administration has been obstructive. Some HBCU leaders, for example, point to the March 2018 move by Education Secretary Betty DeVoe to cancel the repayment of more than $300 million in federal relief loans that four historically black colleges took out after Hurricane Katrina and Rita hit in 2005. She was genuinely interested in working on our behalf, said Walter Kimbrough, president of Dillard University in New Orleans, which received loan relief from DeVoe. That's their big win with HBCUs, he said, of the administration. National groups that represent HBCUs have sought to cultivate close ties to the Trump administration. While those efforts have been controversial on HBCU campuses, the sector's leaders have had some successes. So basically, the schools fucking with Trump, the students feel some type of way. Stupid. In particular, they point to increases in key funding streams. For example, during the last 3 fiscal years, federal programs that the United Negro College Fund deems most important to HBCUs have seen collective increases of more than $200 million in funding, said Rodriguez Murray, UNCF's senior president of public policy and government affairs, senior vice president, excuse me. For example, the Strengthening Historically Black Colleges program, which is part of Title III, increased from $245 million in federal support in 2017 to $325 million this fiscal year. So that's an increase. And this is obviously an older article that was written, Actually, no, this is January 23rd, 2030. Advocates for black colleges also have been quietly opposed to the Obama-era borrowing defense rule when DeVos rolled back the rule, provoking sustained condemnation from consumer advocates. That the department cited a letter from the United Negro College Fund that challenged several provisions in the rule. In addition, Murray cited a successful push for the federal government to provide financial relief through deferments to private HBCUs and saw their enrollments decline due to a change made to the Parent Plus loan program during the Obama administration, a decision that infuriated HBCU leaders. Congress and the Trump administration backed the deferments. HBCU leaders also have pointed to the Trump administration's support of the return of so-called year-round Pell Grants, as well as symbolic moves such as the transfer of White House HBCU initiative from the Education Department to the administration's executive offices. When these items have gotten to the president's desk, Murray said the president has signed each and every one of them. And I'm not going to continue reading the rest of this. This is InsideHigherEd.com. Did Trump save HBCU? So you can pull up the article. But this is what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Black people, feelings and emotions and shit, as opposed to focusing on what the fuck you could get. I'm not saying that you got to go up there and kiss Donald Trump's ass or that you got to lick the crack or whatever, but I'm saying this man has such a narcissistic personality disorder. It would be easy to get him to do things for the black community if he felt that black people weren't out here just criticizing and hating on Donald Trump. Like, again, the man likes his ego stroke. Stroke that motherfucking ego. You know what I'm saying? Like, stroke that shit. Like, fucking, I need Outkast to make a song. Stroke it like a Polaroid picture. You know what I'm saying? Stroke that motherfucker. Damn. I'm saying if you getting what you need, but see, this is the problem with black people. Everything is all about feelings and emotions. Oh, he's racist. He said this. He's inciting violence. Oh, Donald Trump. All these white people that are racist, they didn't exist until Donald Trump became president, which just isn't true. They've been here, which is what the woke community has been trying to tell motherfuckers since day one. These motherfuckers they were always here. But y'all stupidly sat around. They were like, oh, Obama's president. Oh, and racism is over. And it's like, no, them white people, they was circling the wagons. They was upset. They was grumbling and shit. That's why they created all that shit with the what do you call that stuff? The far right, what did they call themselves? Not the New Patriots. I'm sitting there thinking about the divisions to the True Sons. No, it's not the True Sons. What the fuck did they call themselves? The not the 3%. What did they call themselves? The fucking people on the far right, the grassroots. Shit, I forget what they called themselves, but you know what I'm talking about. The people on, the Proud Boys and who was the other group? I don't know who the other group is, but the Proud Boys, they come out and they say, no, we only came to fight Antifa. Okay, fine. What's the other group? The Tea Party. There you go. The motherfucking Tea Party. All that Breitbart shit and everything else. They came because they saw what appeared to be a black man and they felt some type of way that, oh my God, the whites are losing power, right? Even though they control all the Fortune 500 companies and the banks and the federal system and all that other shit. But, again, it's the symbolism is important to them. Visuals are important to them, which is why it's so stupid for them to sit there and act like, they don't understand, why movies like Black Panther are important to black people. And then they're still in there feeling some type of way. I'm like, you don't have every fucking superhero that you could possibly have. We get one black superhero and motherfuckers is making YouTube videos bitching and complaining, talking about Wakanda is an ethno state. This movie's racist. Da 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 da. You know what I mean? But nobody was complaining when they came out with 300 and you had all them white men up there, killing the legions of freaking, Persians and the gross misrepresentation of Persians. You know that movie's banned in freaking Iran, right? Which is actually Persia, right? If you want to go to Pernapolis or whatever it's called, right? And Xerxes and all that shit and Darius, right? That's that's Persia. That Iran is Persia. If people don't know that. And Persia is not the Middle East. But yeah, they banned that shit. I mean, if you think about how, I mean, there's a white guy. He did a video on 300 and why 300 is a racist movie and everything. And I mean, he laid the shit out, man. When they had that black dude fade into the darkness like Chester Cat, and all you could see is his eyes and his teeth. I mean, he was like, yeah, pretty racist. I was killing myself. But I mean, just the whole way that they depicted the whole Persian Empire. You had the what were they called? What did they call the immortals? They all had the Asian looking mask on, basically hinting at all Asians look alike. That was like the third wave of his legion and whatnot. None of the Persian soldiers were personalized other than like the generals and shit. They all wore the turbans, not turbans, but they all wore the Arab face covering and shit like that. I mean, that's what they look like. That way you could just kill them indiscriminately without feeling some type of way. It's like Ninja Turtles with the Foot Clan. I mean, you don't care about them getting beat up because their faces are covered. They notice that. Just keep in mind, they always try to do that when they want to depersonalize who they're killing. They don't want to show the faces. They don't want to show the eyes and nothing like that. Even though they did show the eyes in the movie, but like they don't want to show that you're actually killing a person. They're just like, they're just these faceless individuals that are just the enemy, and that's what they do in their movies. But anyway, I said a lot in this video, but yeah, I read the facts. There's the facts. You know what I mean? So HBCU funding for black universities has gone up underneath the Trump administration. And don't sit there and be like, oh, well, it's not really Trump. And he signed the shit. If you're going to sit there and credit shit to Obama, when Obama signed some shit, then you need to, when he signed that whole eliminating the crack cocaine fucking disparity, which was clearly racist. I'm saying you gotta sit there and you gotta, regardless of how you feel about Trump, stick to the facts. You know what I'm saying? Stick to the damn facts. A lot of people are running around emotional. I had people I had to address about the fucking, the Breonna Taylor situation and whatnot. And they're like, they're looking at it like that in the Kyle Rittenhouse, and they're looking at it like, well, I don't think that, the white people, they wouldn't be fair and just, so why should we be fair and just? And I'm like, that's such a female way of thinking. That whole tit for tat bullshit and everything else. I'm like, look, if I'm going to slam somebody, I'm going to use a good example. And when they use a bad example, I'm going to point out that they use a bad example. It's like these white people that run around and they got the guy that like is dual wielding and shooting at police officers, and they'll be like, where's Black Lives Matter? Where's Black Lives? Why would Black Lives Matter be protesting this? Or they'll go out there and they'll, like that little boy that, that tragic story where that little boy in North Carolina got killed by his black neighbor, and the white people were like, where's our protest? Just again, stupid ass false equivalence. I'm like, and was he arrested? Yes, they caught him. And was he charged? Yes, he was charged. And chances are he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail. Yeah, yes, he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail. They should throw him under the jail. Okay, so what would you be protesting again? I just want to know, like, what are you upset about? He killed a little white boy. Yeah, I understand that. That's fucked up. Yeah, and he was arrested and charged, and he's sitting in jail right now. I'm like, and what do you think the chances are that he's going to get off or get acquitted or whatever? You think he's going to get off? You think that's really going to happen? See, that's something that black people got to worry about. Even first off, there's a delay of justice, and the person that does the crime, doesn't get arrested. Just like you got this white guy who shot the homeless dude that Phil from the Avize show covered. You know what I mean? There's a delay of justice. Then when they finally get arrested, you know what I mean? They could be acquitted or they could get off. We see this with the freaking cops and the freaking, the Rodney King beating and shit like that. That's commonplace for black people, for justice not to be served. You know what I mean? But white people and all of their feelings and emotions, they go up there and they present these nonsensical arguments and shit. They, trying to counter the narrative, like they're trying to paint the picture that they're victims, to black people being victims. Oh, well, we're victims too. I'm like, bro, it's not, this shit is not even comparable. But they love to push that shit. Again, I don't. Those are bullshit arguments that could easily be smacked down and dispelled. You asked me again. What do I think about the Kyle Rittenhouse? I think he was defending himself. Point blank. Period. Yeah, they went in there. Yeah, the people on the left, we're intimidated by the guns, and they, did that set the crowd off? I'm sure it did. But I'm saying, on what planet do you think that it's okay to run at somebody who has a rifle? Kyle got separated from the group, and they thought, oh, we could take him, and Kyle obviously knew what the fuck he was doing. In terms of being able to be proficient with his rifle, he knew what he was doing. You know what I mean? But he got separated from the group, got chased by the mob, and he let him have it. I don't know what people are sitting around bitching about. I'm like, that was dumb. You gonna chase somebody with a rifle? Sorry, that's dumb. And I mean, it's all on camera. People want to say what they want. No. See, that's why. See, the problem with a lot of y'all black folks is you go out here and you invest yourself in situations. You pick a side before you get all the facts. White people do the same thing too. I remember when the Travis McMichael shit and the Ahmaud Arbery case, and then white people were saying stupid shit. I mean, the reaching. They were like, look, Ahmaud Arbery was clearly trying to steal Travis McMichael's gun. Play stupid games, win stupid prize. I mean, look, if somebody was trying to steal my gun, I'd shoot them too. I'm like, really? Then they got the GBI investigation. Come to find out that, they chased Ahmaud 3 times. He tried to avoid them and was trying to run away. And then he made a last stand and decided to fight, because they had already trying to contain him 3 times. That's why Roddy got charged with murder as well. Because he hit Ahmaud Arbery with his car. You know what I'm saying? I mean that motherfucker was squealing like a pig, man. They charged Roddy. He didn't even know what he was getting. The guy who recorded the shit, he didn't even know what he was getting himself into. And then they charged him with murder, and he was like, "Oh, I didn't do nothing." Well, Roddy, tell us what happened. Oh, it was all Travis McMichael's idea. And then when he stood over Ahmaud, he said, "Fucking nigger." It's like, see, I'm like, there it is. But white people, they were so confident. They knew exactly what happened, and he was clearly trespassing. And then the freaking homeowner came on and was like, they shared the camera video, and all type of people were going in and out of that house. He was probably looking for water because he was jogging. I mean, white people, they were like, who jogs in khaki shorts? Poor people jog in khaki shorts. That's who jogs in khaki shorts. People who don't have the money to go into Dick's and buy some $90 fucking Under Armour with cut off sleeves and shit. You ever go into Dick's and fucking go in there and try to and look at the prices of that shit? The fucking gym equipment. I'm like, oh Lord, you be sitting there going, you know what? I'm gonna go over to Walmart and go to Russell and go in the Russell section and buy me some Russell shit. Same fucking material. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, like, I'm like, man, I ain't paying for this little tiny ass shirt. And the women, they get even ripped off even more, because the women, you know what I mean? It just ain't no fabric on the damn thing. And with the women, they gotta go and they buy like $90 for a piece of string that covers my breasts just so narrowly. It's like, really you gonna pay all this money for this bullshit? It's just dumb. But anyway, I don't want to make this. This video is already excessively long, so I just want to, make my points. I made my points. So that's all I got to say. That's my video. SWP out.